So let me now introduce you to one of the most important concepts in APIs when designing APIs, which is called response codes. So what are response codes? Response codes are just numbers, short numbers that give some indication about what happened, what has just happened after a user has made a request. So for example, a response code of 200 means that everything went perfectly and there is no problem. And this 200 is very, very common. Whenever you return something or do something successfully, you need to return 200. And these numbers are known among developers. So whenever you return 200 to the front end team, they will immediately know that there is no problem. We have other response codes here, a list of the response codes, but this is not the complete list. The list is very long, but these numbers are the most common and the most used. So the numbers are 200, 200 for success, 201 for creating something. If you insert something into the database and you want to tell the user or the front end team that you have inserted something successfully, you need to return 201. 204 whenever there is no content to return. 203 whenever a resource if the resource has been moved permanently. 400 is very common. 400 is returned whenever there is a bad request from the user. For example, if the user did not provide a, all of the parameters required, or maybe something went wrong, you need to return 400. 401 is used whenever you want to tell the user that they aren't authorized to process something, to do some action. 404 is returned whenever something is not found. If the user is trying to get something and it's not found, you return 404. And finally, for 500, whenever there is a internal server error. And again, this is not the complete list. This is just the most important response codes. And again, you aren't going to be using, by the way, you aren't going to be using all of these. The two most important response codes from this list is 200 and 400. These two are very important. So let me now head over to the project and use these response codes in our project. So now in my project here, I have here the files. For example, in the get all movies, let's return a response code so that the user knows that if there is a problem or not. So here, in case of success, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna say here response, and then I'm gonna add a key, and that key can be anything. It can be status, it can be response code, it can be just code, whatever you want to name it, but usually it's called response code or code. Response code or response status, and then it's going to be equal to 200 because here success. Here we return all of the movies successfully. In case of error here, we say here response and then response underscore code, and then here the response code is going to be 400. Usually we return 400 whenever there is an error. And here we are done here. There are only two cases. We have here success and failure in the get all movies. In get movie by ID, we have here in case of success, in this if statement, we can here say response code and then 400 and then 200 here. And then in case of failure, we can return 400. And then in case the user did not provide what we wanted, in case the user did not provide the movie title, we can also return 400. And for simplicity, many developers, by the way, use 400 whenever there is an error, and 200 whenever everything was successful. They usually use 200 just for the sake of simplicity and to make things just simple for the front end team and for everybody. And in case we get all, in case the user uses get movie by name, we can return the response code. Here again, we can return the response code 200 in case of success, and in case of failure, we return 400. And in case there is no movie provided, we also return 400. In case of delete, we here in case of delete, we return 200 in case of success. And then in case of failure, we return 400. In case of failure here, we return 400. And by the way, in case of delete, some developers return, instead of 200, some developers return 204 because in case of delete, we delete that resource, we delete that movie, but we usually return nothing. Instead, we return 400, and 400 means no content returned. No content returned, but it's successful. But what the user wanted to do was successful. So what the user wanted to do here in this case is deleting the movie. So here, even though it's success, this case is success, but there is no content to return. So to be accurate, you can return to 204 to the user in case of delete movie. If you don't want to be accurate, if you just want to use 200, that is fine. There's no problem with this. But I just wanted to point out the fact that you can use 204 in case of after you delete something from the database. Finally, we have the create. In case of create here, in case of create, we usually, after we create, we return, in case of success here, we return 201, because 201 means created and success at the same time. The status is success, but the resource created, the resource has been created. And if you don't want to be accurate, you can return 200. But I'm going to return 201 here. And in case of failure, we return 400, and then we are good to go. Here also, we return 400. Let me now save everything. Let me click on Save All. And let's now test. Let me test on a few of these URLs. So now in the browser, if you refresh, if you go to the get, for example, get all movies, as you can see, I'm going to get all of the movies. And at the end here, we have a key called response code. And the value is 200, which means success. Let's try another one. Let's, for example, delete something. Or insert something. Let's insert something instead. So here I'm going to go to the form that I have, and then let me here insert some movie. Let me say here Joker, for example, and then 2025, and then here this is Joker, the Joker movie. And then let me here click on submit, and as you can see here, it returned error false, and the message movie inserted successfully, and finally response code 201 because we created something. Again, you can return 200 instead. It's fine. You need just to be flexible, but you need to either return the message or the response code. If you return the response code, usually there is no need for the message, but I would highly recommend returning a message. It's very important. It's considered one of the best practices in creating APIs is to return a message and response code. So this is all you need to do, all you need to know about response codes in APIs.